Most questions have a lot of information that is there simply to distract you from the core argument. So the real art and the real skill you have to develop is the ability to simplify dramatically the argument that's in front of you. The first step in simplifying the argument is identifying the conclusion. If you haven't done so already, watch the short video on identifying conclusions. In this case, we can see the conclusion is the last sentence, and we know that because of the phrase, "this indicates that." That's where the author is interpreting data or giving us his or her opinion. So our conclusion is today's trends in publishing are based on the false assumption about the interests of the public. Our next step is to ask ourselves, well, why does the author think that? And we can see that there was a survey of journalism students, and the journalism students said they wanted to see stories about serious government and political issues, and they had little tolerance for things like celebrity gossip. Everything I've highlighted in the passage, that constitutes the core argument. Everything else is fluff. It's a distraction. So I could at least mentally rewrite the passage like this. Journalism students said they wanted serious stories, and from that I make a conclusion about the interests of the public. Now, and especially if you've watched our short video on suppressed premises, you can see the jump. Our conclusion is about the public, but our evidence is about journalism. So there's some kind of flaw in thinking that what journalism students think, that represents what the public wants. Remember, when you are identifying the flaws in an argument, so often what you're really looking for are times when the conclusion does not match the reasoning in the argument. When you're attempting to simplify the argument, there are a few words you really don't want to touch. We call those words quantifiers. Words like any and every and must and could. Anything that talks about number or frequency or likelihood, or words that have an implied degree of strength. You want to preserve that implied magnitude. For example, there's a big difference between reducing something and eradicate something. You could say that reduce is a weak word, while eradicate is a very strong word. And when you simplify your argument in your head, you want to preserve that weakness or strongness in the conclusion or reasoning. Let's try one more. Our first step is to spot the conclusion. This time they made it easy with the word therefore. So our conclusion is the replacement of keyboards will have an immediate reduction of typing costs. And in this case, I have this quantifier immediate, which implies a certain shortness in time. Those are the kind of words you definitely want to include in your simplified argument. Now I ask myself, why do they think there's going to be an immediate reduction in costs? And the reason they give is there will be faster typing and less fatigue. Now I can dramatically simplify my argument. If we have faster results and less fatigue, then we will have immediate reduction in typing costs. Now when the argument asks me to weaken the conclusion, I can see that when they talk about how costly it is to train someone to use the new keyboard, that concept of costly training, well, that goes directly against the argument that my savings will be immediate. And you can see that if I had made the mistake and not preserved the quantifier of immediate, it wouldn't have been so easy to catch the mistake in the reasoning that costly training might not make our savings so immediate. We might still have eventual savings, but with the expensive training, we won't have immediate savings.